Welcome in to Business Builders on 93.7 The Ticket. Business Builders is where grit meets strategy and good ideas grow into great companies. Here are your hosts, Matt Warner and Rebecca Pearson.
Okay. Welcome to Business Builders. I can't even say that. Welcome to Business Builders, where grit meets strategy and good ideas grow into great companies. This is a brand new show, and I am Rebecca Pearson, and that is Matt Warner. We are two straight shooters with the scars and stories to prove it. And today we're here to share with you what we have learned in the business community and to talk about current issues facing business owners. This show is all for business owners, so we'd like to have a lot of collaboration, a lot of participation. You can call in, text in. Don't forget to tune us in on Saturdays at 9 a.m. This is our third show, and we're very excited to have this new show designed just for business owners. And I'm happy to have my co-host, Matt Warner. Matt and I introduced ourselves a few weeks ago, and we're excited today to talk about some additional things, but I wanted to welcome in Matt and just say, hey, what's going on?
Well, and we've been talking about doing this show for a while. But,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're finally getting this steam going, and we're going to get better and better at it. But I will tell you, the one thing I'm passionate about is helping people. Part of my leadership style is servant leadership. So I really hope that as we do this more and more, that people are asking good questions. And by the way, we probably won't know all the answers, but we'll go find them. And then we can bring people into the show and we can address great strategies because we both know that having a business, being an entrepreneur is extremely tough. And I love it in the intro where you said, the grit. It's one of our core values at Empire. Grit is part of what makes us tough. And we actually ask people, do you have grit? We want to know, do they understand what it is to just be tough?
To be an entrepreneur.
Right.
It is not for the faint of heart.
No, and I told you, Rebecca, I want to each week, I'm coming up with new questions for you. So I want to, let's just get it out of the way.
You got a stumper for me?
I have a really good question for you.
Yesterday's stumper was really tricky too.
So check this out. I'm going to ask you two questions.
Okay.
One, how many entrepreneurs are in the United States approximately?
Okay. So I have no idea. But if we back into, because this is what entrepreneurs knew, I'm going to say, well, what's the population? I don't even know that, 360 million, somewhere, like something that. Like that. And let's say we have 30% of them are entrepreneurs. Okay, so 18 million?
I want to say no.
180 million. 180 million. I can't even do the math.
So there's about 33 million. But get this.
33. Okay, 18 was closer.
582 million entrepreneurs worldwide. So that's a big number, but globally,
not to the population.
It's still not to the population.
Right.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
But so we're a unique breed, right?
Yep.
I mean, we're a unique group of people that try to go out there and make change and solve riddles and identify different strategies, right?
Yeah.
And you know a lot about this.
Sure. Well, and then we'll talk about entrepreneurs. So the ones that are listening to us right now, they're in their head, they're already thinking about, okay, how long have I been at this, and success and failure and all of that. And one of the things that we talk about a lot with entrepreneurs is failing fast and just failing, and the fear of failing and it not being for the faint of heart.
Right. And fail in our company, we call fail first attempt in learning, FAIL, first attempt in learning.
Okay.
So we have this rule, and when we identify something that needs to be fixed, we go to work on it. And once we get to 70%, we cash it in. We go. So there's this mindset that you have to have it all figured out. But that's really not what you want to do. You don't want to figure it all out. You want to be a 70% mark and going, because perfection will kill your journey. It'll just wipe you out.
That's a great segue to today's topic, which we're going to talk about opportunity identification. But before we do that, part of what we talked about doing was sharing a day in the life of a business owner.
Okay.
So before we dive in, because that's going to be an awesome segue to what we're going to talk about today, what is going on in today's world with Matt Warner?
So, well, first of all, remember, we've got the Empire, we've got Unlimited Support Solutions, we've got the software, My Salesman, and 3 or 4 other businesses, Hot Coat, and there. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, Bronco enthusiast. Can that be my new title?
Sure.
Matt Warner, serial entrepreneur,
So we need to flash that up.
Bronco enthusiast. I love my Bronco.
Okay.
You saw it out there.
I did. All right.
Okay.
So Ellie, you're going to flash up serial, whatever that was. Say it again. Serial entrepreneur, Bronco enthusiast.
Yes. That's
going across
Ellie,
your screen now.
I just came up with that, Ellie.
I love it.
So, but let's talk a little bit about what's going on in my world right now is, oh my gosh. So we had this awesome visit. So we had a general contractor actually reach out and said, hey, I heard you guys do manufacturing, because everybody knows us as a fence company. So one of our business development guys reached out to this general contractor that want to know more. And they brought 11 of their project managers and 11 of their people to tour our facilities. By the way, I never dreamed this would happen, that a general contractor wants to come see us. We're a subcontractor, right? We're a fence company. We're basically on the bottom tier of their worries, right? Most people are worried about foundations and brick and mortar and all that. We're the fence guy. We're usually the first one in to do the temporary fence and the last one out because we're finishing up the site security. So we had this great company out of Fremont, Leader Construction, come for a visit, and it was epic. We fed them lunch. We gave them a tour around. So here's what I'm going to tell entrepreneurs that I've learned from this. Don't be afraid to go out there and reach out to a big contractor, whether you're a painting guy, a drywall guy, and bring them into your world and let them know that you're human. I think sometimes we forget, and I was so excited, and we have so many good people that my team just did this. I literally showed up 30 minutes before I had to speak and said, this is who we are. And they're like, yeah, we already heard that. Oh, well, and we do this. Yeah, we already heard that. And they like literally covered everything. So I didn't have anything to talk about, which is awesome. But my recommendation for all the people out there, and this is what I even said, we need to do this more often. Please, if you're out there, invite those general contractors in, and invite a project manager over, buy them lunch. Well, everybody loves a free lunch.
Sure. Well, what do they want to see? So a general contractor calls you up, says, I want to bring my team. What are they coming to see?
You know what? I think in today's world, more than ever before, people buy from people they like. And most prices on fence are close. They want to buy from the person that's going to show up, not necessarily the lowest price. They're going to buy from the person that's going to do good work, good quality workmanship, and that's going to be fair and has a good core value. Safety also. Safety is a big part of it, which we are safety freaks. We have our Monday morning meetings, which you've heard me talk about many a times. And by the way, folks, I will bring this up forever because I think it's our secret sauce. It's one of the most things I'm passionate about. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to do a show just on the Monday morning meeting.
Yep. Sounds good.
But until then, I'm just going to tease everybody. Okay. What is a Monday morning meeting? So this will be fun. But I will tell you, I really think that general contractors and most people today, even homeowners, want to buy from somebody they trust, which I'm a big believer in trust. You know, I'm a huge Stephen Covey fan. If you haven't read the book, Speed of Trust.
Speed of Trust. That's another show coming.
That's another show that's going to come.
Love that book.
Rebecca, we have so much to talk about.
How many years we got? We're not that old.
Yes. We need to tell everybody that we're just going to do this for 1 year and then quit.
No.
And that way we'll get the FOMO and maybe they'll miss us before we even get started. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I love it. All right. So we've got 4 or 5 shows already teed up now. Okay. So
I hope somebody's writing these down because I will not
Ellie's
forget.
taking notes.
Ellie, all right.
Yeah, Ellie's got notes for us. Plus we're recording all these so everybody can watch after the show. So we got it.
Okay. Sounds great. How exciting.
Okay. You didn't finish your story though.
By the way, how's my hair look?
Okay. You look fabulous.
Do I look all right?
Yeah.
I'm losing my hair. It's really starting to bother me.
Okay, don't lose your thought. Your hair looks great. Why do people
Rebecca,
come to visit?
I tend to go everywhere all the time. So your job is to keep reeling me back in.
I'm going to keep you on track, and we're going to generate all these ideas for shows. So people come, you give them a tour, you give them free lunch. What are they looking for? They want to know somebody. I'm going to tell you that when I used to do that, I think one of the things you can get by touring someone's facility that you work with is you get all the things they don't tell you. So are they organized? Are they clean? I run a bakery, so that becomes important. People are coming.
Right.
You come to a bakery and there's food all over the floor and it's a mess. What are you thinking about that brand? Right. So same thing for you, whether it's organization or structure or beyond Matt Warner. Do I like the people? Right. Yeah. Because you can also fall in love with a salesperson at a company and then you go meet the rest of them and you're like, oh, those are a bunch of chumps. I don't like those people.
Oh my goodness. Or I have to run home right now.
They have great people.
I think I forgot to take out my trash when they walk through. I am going to be so embarrassed.
Okay. Matt's going to leave, take out the trash and come back. I'll carry the conversation.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. Now, if only we were going to a break, that would work. That would be very funny. So we
Yeah.
might have you take out the trash at the official break.
I'll send you a picture of me taking out trash.
Okay. And then, I'm going to go with the Broncos. So now you're going to be in the Bronco flying down the road. Okay. Trivia. What's the first thing that comes to anybody's mind when you say Bronco flying down a highway?
Not a white Bronco by any means.
No, not, but that's definitely what comes to mind. So you do not have a white Bronco.
No.
You have a blue, black Bronco.
Black. It has a name. Black Betty.
Black Betty.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bam
Okay.
Lamb. Black Betty. Oh,
Bam
Black
Lamb.
Betty.
Okay, so all right, Ellie. Now we need the music.
Yeah.
We will put the music into this. We're going to do a little
Whoa,
stint
Black Betty.
of Black
Bam
Betty.
Lamb.
So we're going to edit in some music here so that you can hear this. So great segue. All right, so that's what you did this morning. You
Yeah.
basically gave a tour.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Do you have something after you leave the studio here that you're going to do?
Yes. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go to my mastermind class because I'm very passionate about that.
Yes,
And
we learned
talked
that
about
last week.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to go to the Cornhusker grand opening for the Cornhusker
games.
State Games.
Yes.
And then I'm going to probably go home and cook dinner for my college daughter that decided to move back in. Now, Rebecca, she decides over the summer she's going to live back home. So we're empty nesters. Melanie and I are empty nesters. So I don't know. Is this PG-13? Because I don't want to.
you're good.
All right, we're good.
You're
I
good.
don't want to make any listeners out there feel weird or anything. But I tend
You're
to walk
human.
around the house naked once in a while. And now maybe the whole city of Lincoln doesn't need to know this, but I just
Guess what? You just told
I
them.
just put it out there. Okay. So here I am. I'm going to go start the coffee at 5:00 in the
buff.
morning in the buff. And she's sitting at the table eating a bowl of cereal. And I'm like, why? And she's like, why? And we're both screaming. And I'm running back in the room. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I work at the coffee shop in Havelock, Dad. I have to be there in like 30 minutes. And you gross me out.
I was going to say,
like,
for sure, she's horrified.
Oh, yeah. She's
Yes.
freaking out. Yeah. So,
Because you can't imagine your parents ever
no.
without clothes,
No.
right? Yep. No, it doesn't
No.
happen. Yep.
And I'm sure I'm not the best looking dude. They say skinny.
Well, you need
dipping.
a little more hair.
I
that's
do.
for sure.
All right. Yes, my hair is bothering me. Ellie, can you
would you
put
like
some
us
hair
to
on
edit
me?
that? Yeah.
put a little
Okay.
bit
We'll
more
put a
hair on me.
toupee on you. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. All right. So I'm going to tell you what I did today. But in order to do that, like all good business owners, I run with a calendar. Do you have a calendar that you follow?
I have somebody
Are
that
you-
manages my calendar
Yes.
for me.
Okay. I used to when I worked corporate. Okay. So we talked about that a few weeks ago when I did my introduction. I had someone who literally managed my calendar. I never touched it. Somebody who scheduled all my meetings. I'd say, hey, go make a meeting. I need it tomorrow at 2:00 and I need these 5 people, knowing full well those 5 people are not available. And somehow this woman
Would pull it together?
absolutely.
That's crazy.
5 people in a room at the time I needed and would have thought of coffee, water, drinks, and who knows what. And hey, Rebecca, have you done your PowerPoint for that? Whatever. Can I help you? Like, she was a rock star. Amazing. Her name is Amy, and Ellie's actually met Amy because Amy was here doing some stuff for me not too long ago. Okay. So today I started my day with a conference call at 8:00 to go over some tax stuff. And of course the technology didn't work. So I got behind. Have you ever had that where you got a meeting and the technology doesn't work or something and you get behind? So I'm sure every business owner listening is like, yep, nodding on that. Then I came up here and had a meeting with our rock star sales guy, Jake Sorensen. And we covered kind of what's going on for football season. Yep. And he loves you as well. And then I was on another call for the bakery, which is my part-time job that everybody knows. And then I was preparing for this show. So here we are. And then after this, I am going to have another call. And then tonight, I am not going to the games. I will probably go to the gym. So we haven't talked about mental health and wellness, but it's going to be an important thing for business owners to manage anxiety, stress, and all those things. So I'm pretty religious about going to the gym. So I will end my day with the gym because I don't have anybody to cook for.
I obviously don't go to the gym, but I am in shape. It's called pear shape. I'm a pear. You know how the pear kind of goes like so
okay. All right.
Bad visual.
Okay, so we have concluded kind of what it's like a day in the life of. We have covered all kinds of things about your day, who's coming. We talked about Mastermind last week, which we hope everybody had a really good learning from what we talked about.
That's the idea.
Yep, exactly. And for today, I'm going to do a little intro, and then maybe we will take a break. Does that work for us, Ellie? Okay, excellent. So today we're going to talk a little bit about opportunity identification, which I alluded to. And as you all may remember, if you saw our first show, I teach entrepreneurship at the University of Nebraska. And I find this class to be super comprehensive of running a business because it's definitely leadership. It's for sure marketing, which is a lot of my background, but it's also what I would consider to be the lifeblood of any business is finding opportunities and turning them into something. And the whole process of how you do that, I think a lot of people think that that's just, oh, some people are good at that and they're natural at that and they can do that and they're an entrepreneur. But the reality is you can teach these methods to help people find opportunities and assess if they're worth it. And you had kind of teed this up by saying, you get 70% of the way there and you're like, let's go. Yep. Right. There's so much that you need to do, but there is some structure to how you assess an idea that you think is worth pursuing. But then you have the ExxonMobil world that I came from where we wouldn't have done 70%. We'd be at 95. We might even be at 120 before we executed something. And this is some of the difference we'd love to talk about is being in a gritty, smaller, because not a small business with some of the work that you do, even our radio station here and corporate America and what we do, especially when it comes to opportunity identification. So that's kind of a tee up for what we would do at the break. Do you want to say something before we take the break?
So you're a professor.
I am a professor. Yes.
Wow. That's so cool.
At least a part-time professor at the university. Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I think that is super cool. I, therefore, am not. I am just a serial entrepreneur, Bronco enthusiast.
Okay. And a professor of day-to-day business ownership.
I will tell you, though, I do think that knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And I think, like I told you, that one of the first things that clicked with you and me is I like your brain and how you think. And we can talk about this right here, right? We're both fascinated on business. Yeah. Which is really cool because we're doing it on a sports show, which sports and entrepreneurs have that in common, especially entrepreneurs that grow to big companies. It's the one percenters, right? The Navy SEALs are the one percenters. The NFLers are the one percenters. Right. Those that grow big companies or grow from scratch, starting in your kitchen, those are your one percenters. They're your unique people that you're trying to help teach at the university.
Absolutely. And because we're here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the University of Nebraska, D1 school, very big with name, image, likeness these days for athletes. One of the things the university has invested in is their entrepreneurship program. It is one of the top ones in the country. And it's because they have data that shows that athletes, I don't know what the percentage is, maybe 20-25% of the time are going on to be entrepreneurs of some sort post what they hope to be a professional career somewhere in their sport. So maybe with that, we'll put a pin in it. We'll take a break and we'll come back with Matt Warner, Rebecca Pearson on Business Builders.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222. When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered. Specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
You're listening to Business Builders on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Matt Warner and Rebecca Pearson.
Okay, welcome back to Business Builders, where grit meets strategy and good ideas grow into great companies. I'm Rebecca Pearson and Matt Warner. Don't forget to text or call us 402-464-5685. We would love to hear from you. And if we don't answer your question today, we will get to it in a future show. So make sure you tune in on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Okay, so when we left for break, I was talking about being a professor at the university. So does that pique your interest at all?
You know, first of all, tell me, what does that mean? So you're a professor at the university. How many kids are in a typical class?
Yeah, well,
30?
It depends. My first semester. So first of all, I'm an adjunct professor, right? Because I have a master's degree. We talked about that before. If you're a full-time professor, you have to have a PhD. But one of the great things about having adjunct professors in a university is that you often get people from the community, in this case, from a business who actually owns a business.
By the way, I feel like I have a PhD in failing.
Well, good. We're going to talk
I'm
about
really
that.
good at it.
Well, okay, but that's also sometimes a very good sign of an excellent serial entrepreneur. Okay, so we're going to come back to that idea.
All right,
okay.
so you're in the class.
So I'm in the class.
How many?
So depending 50 to 30, let's say.
50 to 30.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe 20. I had 25 this last time.
So
but
you walk up and you got the old chalkboard and you're like, okay, my name is Rebecca. Do you do that? And then you do roll call like Aaron?
I do
All
it
right,
just
Aaron.
like, I do it just like that. My name is Rebecca Pearson. And I own the radio station down the street. Has anybody ever heard of 93.7 The Ticket?
And you say, okay, Balake, are you in here?
Right.
Is there a Balake here? Right? Have you seen that? In that
I do. I have. Oh,
so,
God.
So when you said you were a professor, that's
is that
what I saw.
School Days or what show is that from?
I don't know.
Oh, we
love
need
it.
DP here. So my husband, Derek Pearson, would be, he's the trivia man. He would remind us what show that is. If you know what show that is, text in what show that is because we're both laughing. We know exactly what it is.
Balake.
So, yeah, Balake and Aaron. So we know it. So, yes, I do that. And and they all have little tent cards.
Okay.
Because it's important to me to know the person's name. So we'll talk about this in the future too. When we talk about talent, and we'll have our friends from Talent Plus on. It's important to know someone's name. There's nothing that makes you feel less valued than when someone doesn't know who you are and they don't call you by name. I'm sure you know everybody's name at your company.
Oh
yes?
my goodness. Yes, but
close to?
no. Yes.
Close
oh
to.
no, I'm very close. My daughter actually does. My daughter Melissa knows literally everybody in the company, and she does better than me, but she's interacting with all of them more than I am. Remember, I see everybody every Monday,
right?
But I go around, I say good morning, everybody. Now I will tell you, I know everybody's face, and I know I know their favorite color, because I always ask people what their favorite color is when they first start, and then I teach them to ask why. I think in business, it's important for us to have the opportunity to ask why, which is psychological safety. It's a big deal. Alan Maloney, the CEO of Ford, taught that psychological safety in a company is super important. So do you teach stuff like psychological safety in this? Or what books do you use? Tell me what books.
Well, I do lots of things. So first of all, I learned everybody's name because it's important. And I just happened to have brought my syllabus. So funny you should ask me that, Matt. So I brought my syllabus because I thought it might be fun to cover a couple of topics. So I have my syllabus just so people, for those of you who haven't been in school in a long time, here's a syllabus. And we use something called Canvas, which is a LMS system, if you know, learning management system, basically. I have 2 books. Can we see that, Ellie? Do I have that in camera there? Okay, so that's the New Business Road Test for people who are just listening to us. Okay, and then we have the Innovator's DNA. For anybody who's looking on camera, you can see that. The authors of these are important, particularly the Innovator's DNA, because if you're a serial entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, in many cases, you might know the name Clayton Christensen. He's kind of the father of innovation. We can talk about that forever in the next year's worth of shows. And then we have the new, the road test here, which is John Mullins. I would say the road test is kind of like a handbook. So it's not neither one of these are things you want to read cover to cover. And I don't make my students read them. In fact,
Thank you.
Class,
you might be my favorite professor already.
Well, here's what's new in the new world of Ellie, who's much younger than the two of us, is it's much more, I say it's like going back to kindergarten, and not in a bad way. It's hands-on. It's practical learning. It's harder for this generation to read and absorb. You and I had to memorize everything, study everything. There were no books. We weren't allowed to take tests with books. We had to memorize everything. Here's the real deal. We know this. In the real world, you don't have to memorize it all.
Yeah, I'll never forget.
It's amazing. You can actually go to the library and get a book or look it up online.
One of my favorite things that ever happened one time was I was in an algebra class, and they said, Matt, you're not always going to have a calculator. And I'm like, oh, I think I will. I think I'll always have.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a calculator. So Mrs. Weber out there, if you're listening, my algebra teacher.
In what state?
In Waverly.
In Waverly? The state of Waverly.
The state of Waverly. State of Nebraska.
Otherwise known as Nebraska, yes.
I have a calculator on me at all times. I'm just saying.
It's on your phone.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
It's everywhere, yeah.
It's on your phone, and so is the internet.
So wrong answer.
Don't make students remember stuff. It's not practical, nor can you remember it all. It's also impractical. So this is like a Bible. You can look things up when you're like, hey, I want to come up with a new idea. How might I do that? Or I need to do research. How might I do that? This is an easy way to look it up. The Innovator's DNA talks about literally the DNA. And have you read this book?
I have not read either one of them.
Okay. You need to read this book or part of this book or go watch some of the videos from Clayton Christensen.
Okay.
Most importantly, especially for people who are listening or watching us, go out to YouTube, search for Clayton Christensen with an E, and look for the video on hiring a milkshake at McDonald's.
Oh,
okay?
I'm on it.
So what do you hire a milkshake at McDonald's to do? And that is classic terminology for an entrepreneur. What did you hire the product or service that you sell to do? What are the people that are buying from you hiring it to do? And that it gives you a whole different way of thinking about what you do, why you do it, who's buying it, why they buy it, and so on.
So how many credit hours is this class?
This is a 3 credit hour class.
Oh, wow. So a couple days a week then?
Yes. 2 days a week for an hour and 15 minutes.
In the morning or the afternoon?
Well, I teach in the afternoons, better for me just with my schedule. And it's, and we go on field trips because that's also important. And we do lots of projects because if you're going to be hands-on, you have to practice things.
Okay. So how many years have you been doing this?
Oh, I've only done it for 2 semesters now, 2 years, okay. But 2 spring semesters. Yes.
All right. And you're enjoying it?
I do enjoy it, but I taught a ton in the corporate world. I taught the entire lubricants division how to do marketing.
All right. So teach me something that you think is really important that you teach in your class.
Right. So the first thing, we talked about this when we were sitting out in the coffee shop. So if you don't know 93.7 The Ticket, we have a coffee shop at the mill about problem solving. So I will teach you, although I want you to tell your story about problem solving. Finding problems to solve. So what frustrates me is when people say we have a problem. I'm like, no, you don't. You have a problem to solve, but you don't have a problem. Okay, now that triggers something for you. So share with us what that triggers.
So at Empire, and I want to apologize to everybody. I'm not bragging about Empire or anything. I just want everybody to know that's where I work. I work at Empire, Hot Coat, Unlimited Sports Solution, My Salesman, The Wave Fitness. I'm probably forgetting one of there, but either way, that's where we go and I teach. That's my professor. That's where I'm every day.
Right.
I a couple years ago, or a year ago, when my grandmother passed, which sucked. I watched my grandmother pass away, and she was suffering from a lung disease. I get choked up still thinking about it. But watching her pass, I could not do anything about it. And as soon as I left there, I went and I took about an hour to myself, and then I went back to work after she passed. And I had somebody immediately walk up to me and say, "We have a real problem." And they told me the problem, and I sat there and they're like, "Matt, are you there?" I'm like, you know what? Can we not say we have a problem anymore? Because watching my grandmother pass was a problem. That was a problem. I couldn't do anything about it. And neither could the doctors. It was just time.
Yeah.
She was a wonderful woman. So I said, let's call them riddles from here on out, because riddles are fun. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing is what we pay you to do, by the way, and it's to solve riddles. So and plus a riddle sounds fun. If I said I have a riddle or a problem, which one do you want to go? Which box would you want to pick?
Well, the riddle sounds solvable.
Yes.
Right?
And by the way, everything we do, Rebecca, is solvable.
Hence why I like to talk about problems to solve as opposed to problems.
Right. So from here on out, but whenever you say problem, I'm going to say, you mean riddle.
Riddle. Okay. So I teach people how to solve riddles. All right. And
that sounds fun.
Yes. But in order to be an entrepreneur, to innovate, and especially when you're teaching the students at this age, but anybody at any age wants to be an entrepreneur, you have to have something to sell that somebody wants to buy. And in order to do that, you must solve a riddle for someone. They don't need to buy something for something that's not a problem/riddle for them, right? There's no reason to be purchasing something. Everything solves a riddle for somebody. So if you want to innovate and come up with a new company or new idea, generally people have some idea of something they want to do. If they're an entrepreneur, you need to see if anybody wants that. And so this class helps you identify the riddles that are worth solving, and then kind of put a very cursory effort into how might you solve that, to not even to prototyping or anything like that. You know, innovation has very common steps. So you don't get that far, but it's very much teaching people how to observe problems/riddles and to determine whether it's worth solving and whether what you solve it with is something you can create and sell. Super fun to teach that.
Right. And then it gets so much deeper, right? Because what I've learned is when you're first trying to figure out this riddle and you're first trying to solve it, you get so excited about it and you're all jacked up and you're
you
like,
think everybody wants it.
Everybody
wants it.
Which, by the way, is what happened to me with my software. So I have this software called My Salesman.
Tell us.
And all right, so in 2010, I started my business in 2009. 2010, I was going door to door selling some things. I also worked for a contracting company part-time. So I had my business going part-time. So I was double dipping, right? I was trying to burn both candles. But I would go and visit with somebody and say, hey, here's your fence quote. And I'd give it to them. And it was like $10,000. And they're like, oh, my goodness, $10,000. I had no idea. I have to talk to my wife or blah, blah, blah. So I would leave there with nothing. And I'm like, how do they not know that 300 feet of vinyl fence is $10,000? Now it's probably closer to $20,000. But in 2010. So I was like, you know what? This is a good riddle. So I went on the rampage looking for somebody that could help draw. I had this idea that I wanted to Google Earth draw where the fence goes, and then a catalog pops up, and then you pick the catalog of what type of fence you want, and then it would give you a budget number with a range that would say that's between $8,000 and $12,000. That way, at least when I get there, if I fall somewhere in that range, when I'm out talking to them on the phone, I'm trying to pre-qualify them, I'm like, hey, is that in your budget range? And if they said, oh, yeah, I think so, boom, I would go there, and then I would try to get them off the market as fast as possible. Now, when I came up with this idea, and I hired a local firm, Beehive, here, that right here in Nebraska, to write the code and do all this stuff, I thought thousands of fence companies would want to buy this. Thousands at $100 a month. I thought I would be making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a month in revenue, right? I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be the next huddle. This is going to be the next thing. You know, I was thinking, yes, let's go. And I thought it was a brilliant idea. And so did a whole bunch of other fence people, but not thousands. Okay. So, but here's what I quickly found out, that when you probably teach this in your class. Oh. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you also have to look at what is the market capacity. How many people are you going to go to? Because you're probably only going to get 10 or 15% of them to actually join you. And then you're going to have competitors and other people that are going to think, oh, that's a good idea. I can make the same thing cheaper, faster, and then they'll undercut you. And then you have market saturation. Once you hit market saturation, you have to figure out how you're going to go into a different market. Are these the things
Absolutely
that you teach
that 100% in class. In fact, it's about halfway through the class where I teach, is this a good market? Is this a good industry? How do you assess how big is the market? What's your addressable market? And you have to make assumptions. That's what
I want to go on
asked
record.
me.
I did not look at this ahead of time.
Oh, you cheated. You read my syllabus.
I did not. You know what? I just did it until I failed so many times.
But this is the real world, and why I think this show is going to be fantastic for anybody listening is because we have the real world experience to show you that if you do learn something in school, it's actually applicable in this case, but you are never too old to learn. So even if you're 50 years old and you're out there and you're ready to quit the job you've been doing for 30 years and you want to be an entrepreneur, we can help, because we can cut to the chase and say, these are the tried and true tactics that are not only taught at the university, but are lived experiences by somebody like Matt Warner, who I think is just a natural entrepreneur and naturally thinks about these things, right? Because you didn't necessarily go to school for this.
No. I wanted to be a farm kid. I wanted to be a farmer, which is an entrepreneur, right? But a different type of entrepreneur. And I really thought that's what I was going to be, as a farmer. And at 29, when we had a drought and crop prices, we had about 58 bushel an acre corn, $1.80 a bushel. Didn't work. We had a big family farm. I decided to go into the construction market, and I left the farm. I went into construction, and then I went to work for a fence company. I'm like, I think I can do this. And we also do netting all across America. And that's the other thing too, that when you're being an entrepreneur, for the record, I want to give you huge kudos for teaching this class, because you're giving those young people a step up on what I get. I'm 53, Rebecca. I didn't start my company until 2009. Yeah, 16 years ago.
Fantastic.
It took me a long time. By the way, we really didn't start cooking with gas until about 2017. It took me that long just to learn what you're going to be teaching in a semester.
Teaching, right? But you're the proof that what we're teaching works. And again, whether you're 20 or 30 or 50 or 60, you can learn all of this right here on the Business Builders. I think that's a great time to take a break. Ellie, are you good with that? Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about failures with Matt Warner, and I'm Rebecca Pearson.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered. Specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left at once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2. Attention all Wings fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Life changes, and sometimes that means changing where you call home. Whether you're downsizing, growing your family, relocating, or facing tough times, you shouldn't navigate it alone. I'm Laura Bonta-Bush with Woodsboro's Realty, and I'm here to guide you with all your real estate needs. As wife of football coach Bill Bush, I understand the importance of teamwork and making sure you are supported every step of the way with honesty, integrity, and compassion. If you're looking for a game plan to buy or sell your home, text or call me at 402-525-0843. That's 402-525-0843.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop, Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
You're listening to Business Builders on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Matt Warner and Rebecca Pearson.
Okay, welcome back to Business Builders with Matt Warner, Rebecca Pearson. Okay, fun stat. You felt motivated after our last conversation to look up a stat, and I think it's really cool. So share that with the group.
So you were saying whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is. Well, and a lot of us, I didn't start my business till I was 37. Colonel Sanders, how old was he, Rebecca?
Well, the picture of Colonel Sanders makes him look like he's 70 years old. So,
right. Well, he was 40 years old when he started KFC.
Wow.
40.
What was he doing before that?
Yeah, I think he sold it when he was 73 for like just a couple $1 million or something like that. So
okay, first of all, let's make sure everybody knows who Colonel Sanders is because we're old.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Ellie, do you know who Colonel Sanders is? Okay, all right, just checking.
Everybody knows what Chick-fil-A is.
Kentucky Fried
now.
Chicken, yes.
Hey, by the way, that's somebody we should have on the show is Charlie.
Charlie
with
Charlie would be great.
That would be fun.
Okay, note to Ellie, Charlie's going to come on the show. Charlie's been with the Ticket for a long time on lots of different shows, but not necessarily as an entrepreneur. He's probably been on one of our other shows. But anyway, okay.
I love it.
So he was 40 years old and 73 maybe when he retired.
When he retired or sold the business. But what I'm saying is that I love this fact that no matter what age you are, when you feel inspired, that's by the way, that's what gets you going is when you feel inspired to solve the riddle.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing with the young people. And I'm so fascinated with that.
So one of the great things with the students, I love it because they're sponges. They love to learn. And it's fun to talk to them at the beginning of class or the beginning of the semester and the end of the semester and how tuned in they are to riddles. They are so tuned in because they're walking down the street.
You're getting the hang of this riddles thing.
Not every riddle needs to be solved. I'm just going to say. Yeah. And we go through that in the class, but they are so dialed into that's a potential riddle to solve. They're observing, watching their daily life because a lot of times when like your software was something you were doing in the job that teed up, hey, this is a riddle to be solved.
Hey, and by the way, the industry had nothing like it. So we had a really hard lift just convincing people it was okay to use technology, even in 2012 when we released it. We didn't really get any traction on it until COVID came. So when COVID came, people couldn't go to houses. That's when we really grew. Matter of fact, we 10x'd it during COVID, which was really fun. So, and it's still a small software company. We're not huge by any means, but we solved the riddle. But that's also what we do day in and day out is constantly trying to be. I told you one time you and I were chatting. And I said, listen, most people buy the material for about the same. Most people pay their people about the same, especially in the defense industry. And I know people all over America because of our software. Mm-hmm. Where you win is who can solve the riddles the fastest and be the most efficient in the field and getting it done.
Right.
That's
especially if you have commodity type resources.
Right. And now today you can you can AI, which we're going to have an episode about
yes,
AI. We are. Oh my goodness. And AI
show number 355.
Yes. Melanie's going to be like, how many shows are you and Rebecca doing? Okay. Hey, but all that is super interesting. And here's the other thing that I hope that people that are listening start tuning in. Tell your friends, say, hey, this is good stuff. There's a lot of good content here.
And text us, right? So 402-464-5685. Text us. Put notes in the YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, we want to know what you think about these shows, right? Because we're just getting started. We want to know what you want to hear about, what you like, what you don't like. Hey, we're open books.
We will literally mold it to whatever the listeners want to learn about.
We will. Okay, so we're going to talk about failure. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you were kind of leading down that path of talking about failures. And one of the stats that we teach the students, and one of the stats that if you're an entrepreneur, you know this, more than half of any companies that are started usually fail.
Yeah, yes.
It's huge.
Yeah. The stat that I was reading on earlier, it talks about only like 10% make it past the 10-year mark.
Right.
So it says only 10% of startups are able to succeed past the 10-year mark.
Right.
So that's a 90% failure rate, which is tough. But here's the thing.
How do you overcome it?
You have to have grit, which is in the segment of starting this show. I also think you have to have passion.
Yep.
And you have to be humble enough to hire people smarter and more brilliant than you are. And I just taught a class on this about how to coach or lead people that are smarter than you. And I think as soon as you, as the person that's starting the business, and you can put your arrogance and be a little humble and step to the side and say, I need to surround myself with a room of thinkers that are smarter than me, because I believe Steve Jobs said, you hire smart people to do smart things, and to tell you what to do, not for you to tell them what to do.
Don't be afraid to have people smarter than you working for you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Neither one of us are afraid to have someone smarter like Ellie working for us.
Well, Rebecca, it's easy for me.
Yeah.
Most times when I walk in, I'm like, okay.
I'm not going to offer that low bar, but
I am definitely not the brightest bulb in this chandelier right here, okay? Just take one look. I'm farm kid turned fence guy. Come on.
Yeah, but here, so when we have Talent Plus, I'm going to talk about this. You do not have to be degreed. You do not have to have been to university. I mean, Bill Gates is the poster child for this, right? Of you are and naturally born with talents, God-given talents if you're a believer, and however else you want to feel like you got your talents if you're not a believer. But everyone has talent. And so finding where that talent fits is how you rise to that intrinsic satisfaction that you can get by doing something that you love. Matt Warner happens to have intrinsic natural talent and intrinsic satisfaction out of creating companies, leadership, and things like that. So when you are failing, you are learning fast and making decisions to say that works or it doesn't work, and you continue on. We teach the students. So one of the ways to do that is to make the decision soon that something's not working and start over, cut your losses. One of the other things that I teach, and I learned this in spades at ExxonMobil, is you manage risk. So risk and reward. If you don't know this concept of risk versus reward, it's absolutely applicable if you're starting a company or trying to come up with a new idea. The greater the risk, the greater the reward, generally the higher the risk. Right. So you want to mitigate some of that risk to 70% for you or something in that. At ExxonMobil, it would have been 90 to 95, if not 120% of risk. Now, if you're in the oil business, that makes some sense. And when you're in the fence business, maybe that's not necessarily the case. Food business, also not necessarily the case.
Well, and everybody has a different way of measuring where you're at in your decision making and what you're going to try. The whole idea, though, is folks, don't overthink it. Don't keep putting it off. Make a move. Get to a point and say,
learn something.
It's time to go.
Test and learn.
Right.
So inside Empire or any of your other companies, how do you think about the concept of test and learn? Just try it like we're doing with this show.
So we have this thing. Actually, I just came up with this for our company because I had a whole bunch of people that were overthinking this riddle that we were trying to do. And I said, listen, let's do the fencing gambit. So if you're a chess player out there, you all know what the Queen's Gambit is or the King's Gambit. It means you're going to sacrifice something to gain something down the road. That's a gambit. So in our company, we call it the fencing gambit, or we call it the powder coating gambit, where we will take a risk knowing that we will probably lose or not win on that one move to try to move the needle to success.
Right.
So we did this job one time. Rebecca, I got this phone call to do a repair out Greenwood Interchange, $300 repair. I went, I did it. This is 2014. They asked me, they're like, hey, do you want to do all 3,000 feet of this fence? We're going to put all new fence up. Do you want to do it? I was like, sure. So I gave them a price and I was way too high. And they're like, no, you need to do it for about half that. So I did are we running out of time? I'm going to talk really fast here.
Do we have our cue? Okay, we're good.
Good. Ellie needs to keep me on track because sometimes I can go down a tangent. But this is called the fencing gambit.
I'm giving you 2 minutes.
We got 2 minute warning. There you go.
Hi, Ellie.
2 minute warning. Thank you, Ellie. All right, go.
Ellie.
Finish your story.
So we go and we do this job, 3,000 feet, and we cut our price down. We lost our tail. Here's what we learned, though. We had to make a jig to put the posts on. We had to have one welder, not two welders, because it was actually more efficient to have one person welding all the joints together. And then we had to lay out all the bars ahead of time, and we had to run two-man crews instead of one 6-man crew. So we had to lean up and go faster. Today, that client is still our biggest single client. We do $6 million a year with that client.
Wow.
And we lost our tails. It was probably a $110,000 job. We were trying to make $30,000 or $40,000 on it. We lost all of that and had to put about $10,000 into it just to get it finished. I call that the gambit in business. And I don't know. That's matter of fact, you should take that to your class.
Yeah.
And be like, there's a thing out there that Matt calls the gambit. where the Queen's Gambit. Well, this is the fencing gambit. And sometimes you have to risk it to get the biscuit just a little bit. So go out and try it and fail. But when you're out there failing, and by the way, I'm going to tell you all, you're going to hear me all say this. As we do this show together, you're going to hear me say this a ton of times. Fail and fail fast as long as you learn. Most people forget the second part of that. Doggone it.
Right.
It has to have the ending that says, as long as you learn. Right. I'm tired of all these people on these YouTube channels and everywhere else saying, oh, fail and fail fast. You got to fail. You got to fail fast. And then they just stop.
Right.
No, let's add the part where you have to fail fast. As long as you learn.
So 100%. This is why Matt Warner and I could talk forever, because that's what I teach. That's what I teach naturally. It's what I do naturally is I refuse to not learn.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. You have to learn from that. So when I'm teaching, obviously I'm wanting people to learn and students are there to learn. But every class I review at the end or at the beginning, actually, what did we learn from the last class? So if we do that same thing for this show and talk about what did we learn today, I learned you have to risk it to get the biscuit. What did you learn?
I learned that I need to apply more deodorant when I get excited because I am sweating like you would not believe. I'm so jacked up. I get so excited about talking about business and being an entrepreneur and how business clicks and what makes it work. And I'm so happy that we have this opportunity to try to reach out to our community here in Lincoln and the surrounding areas, or whoever wants to
listen. You can listen to us anywhere.
That we're actually going to give you some nuggets,
right?
Some nuggets to lose. Like you just learned a nugget, risk it for the biscuit.
I love it.
And I learned that I need better speed stick.
Okay, and on that note, we are business builders. We are Matt Warner and Rebecca Pearson. We are on Saturdays at 9 a.m. We would love to have you join us. Don't forget to put comments into the social media where you're watching this or listening. Text in 402-464-5685. We will be back on next Saturday at 9 a.m. Thank you for joining us.